Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko with you here, along with Tariq Spence. Good morning, Tariq.
Hey, how are you guys doing today?
Doing well. And Pat Duffy. What's up, Pat?
Come on, guys. How's everybody doing?
Well, just looking at the World Series to start with. Tariq, let me start with you. And there's so many places to go with this. There's strategic things. There's the Turner thing, the virus, and all the rest of it. Where do you come away? Where's your head after the end of the World Series this week?
Well, I mean, clearly once the series is over, once the season is over, all safety precautions are right out the window. So let's first say that. Let's just say, as long as there's no advertisers to please or no next game to play, or thank goodness there wasn't a Game 7, who knows if Turner would have played or if anybody else in the Dodgers would have caught COVID-19. Now that that's done, we can now stop worrying, I guess, about the safeties of the players and the organizations. Let me just first say this. I think that the move to bring out Snell in that game, I understand Tampa fans are upset with their manager. I get it. But let's look at the team that's in the World Series. It's the Tampa Rays, okay? A team who's doesn't have a huge payroll. They were able to get through so many other teams that use the same method to try to get to the World Series. They finally get to the World Series, and then they don't use their gut. And I think that this is the problem when you have this. Some people rely more on the analytics than going with their gut in that field. But that is who you came to the dance with.
I mean, this series was every baseball nerd's dream, right? First of all, I mean, I know you old guys that are baseball religious people hate analytics, so it gets lost on an analytics move. So you love that. Also, didn't we talk about the last couple of weeks how you hate the home run and modern baseball people hate the home run and how dare you change the game? This game was everything a baseball nerd could have wanted. A hit for hit, back and forth, multiple amazing games, losing a game on a double error home at home plate, right? Like after all of the stuff that happened over the last couple of months, right? 60-game season, expanded playoffs, like everything guys like you, Bill, could have wanted out of this series, you got. It was very old school. Well,
that game was the best 14 seconds of the season from the time that ball was hit until the guy fell into home plate. It was best for it. But, Pat, you're sort of like the social conscience for this program. Where do you make of the whole Justin Turner situation?
I mean, look, I'm at the point now, and I think this is most people, right? Like, you're not going to change anybody's mind. Is anybody really surprised by this? It was all a song and dance, and I think it was that way for almost every league except the NBA. They're the ones that took it really seriously. What I am a little disappointed in, so Turner tests positive, and there's talk that they may have had to delay the World Series by 2 weeks had they had a Game 7. And people were saying what a disaster that would have been. I disagree. You would have had 2 weeks where everyone would get healthy. You would have had two aces with fresh arms facing off against each other. It would have been a Super Bowl-esque covered winner-take-all Game 7 in the craziest baseball season we've ever had. I would have been all in on it, man. Would have been great.
I don't know. I would have been a little bit disappointed, and I think the entire Dodger Nation would have been disappointed if Turner couldn't play the next game, and then you got to turn around and possibly play a Game 7 the next day. Or for 2 weeks, had that much anxiety waiting for these two teams to play, and then you're losing your audience. Who knows what the audience would have been, which I'll get into a little bit later on Unfinished Business. But I think this whole thing has just been this whole facade of we care about players. We don't. We just want players to play. I mean, look at the NFL. Players are not even shutting down facilities anymore. They're just telling the player, don't come back. And we're going to go play next week. So it's a totally different belief now of safety of players only until they play the game. And then after that, okay, that's fine. We're going to just keep on doing what we're doing to try to get as much games in, which I don't mind. I get it. But it's not about the health of the player.
But you've got Turner on the field post-game, in some cases maskless. And I don't know that the situation about whether or not this team is going to be allowed a victory parade or anything is yet to be decided. There's talk that the Lakers parade, when they won, caused a little spike in the virus. It just strikes me as just being so typical, and that the office, the Major League Baseball's office, must have been so relieved that game ended it, and they can just wash their hands of this season.
Yeah, but you're not going to tear Turner away from that celebration. I mean, that's a celebration you don't get to have.
But don't you have to?
No, I don't think they have the guts to do it. That's like a graduation moment. That is a great moment with your team. You've gone through so much. You've been saying the health aspect of it. That's why it's hypocritical. You're saying the health aspect of it. The right thing to do is to take him off the field, but it's a celebration you don't get to have next week. You don't get to have next month. You don't get to have in 2 weeks out of a year. It's that moment, and they couldn't control it.
You know, we did cancel graduations this year.
I mean,
so a graduation moment.
Whole bunch of kids last year that had once-in-a-lifetime proms and graduations and all that stuff. They didn't get to have it. I mean, it's irresponsible, especially when he had the ability to take himself out of the situation. I care about these guys, right? Well, now you're exposing them to all this stuff. And God forbid something terrible happens. That's what this guy will be remembered for the rest of his career.
Yeah, and he's one of the real stand-up guys on that team. At least, you know, that was the image he projected. We're at the Rochester Press Box. We're talking the big Bills-Patriots upcoming game next.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay and Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
Thanks for joining us and welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. Time to talk Buffalo Bills. Pat, this is kind of the moment we've been waiting for, right? We put an end to this whole Patriots thing, and the Buffalo Bills established themselves as the team in the AFC East this week.
Yeah, yes. Well, yeah, they're undefeated in the division right now. You got a 2-game lead on the Patriots. You got a 1.5 lead on the Dolphins. You've swept the Jets. I mean, look, they're getting healthy this week. John Feliciano comes off of injured reserve. That's a huge win. Levi Wallace is off injured reserve. He's not cleared to practice yet, but that's going to be big because you're not starting your 4th corner alongside Tre'Davious White. Once the bodies are back, everything will settle in and be fine. You cannot win an NFL game. I don't care who you're playing when your 2 starting corners are the 3rd and 4th guys when you walked into training camp.
Hey, Tariq, it's actually a 3-game lead over the Patriots right now. Do you
Excuse me.
That's okay. It's pretty significant. You're only, 7 games in? You got a 3-game lead? And they're only a 3.5-point favorite, Tariq.
I know it's Halloween, but you still have to bury some ghosts. And you have to take care of the New England Patriots. Listen, the last 3 games have been terrible, Duffy. They lost the last two games prior to the Jet game. They didn't score a touchdown in the Jet game. I've been warning you about the running game. Will you listen to me about the running game? You need to improve the running game. It would be great if you improved your running game. And your defense did a great job stepping up in the second half. I have to give them credit. Allen was able to manage the game, didn't make too many mistakes, so I give him credit for that. But the MVP talk has gone down the last couple of weeks. And I'm telling you right now, if I'm New England, I haven't been playing well either. I want a staple win against the Bills, who are number 1 in the division.
Yeah, not the Super Bowl participant from last year at San Francisco 49ers. Look, improve the running game. You mean like getting your starting offensive lineman top 3-round pick back this week? Oh, because that's the thing that's going to happen. And let's talk about Josh Allen and his dipping statistics and numbers. John Brown, when the offense started going to John Brown was in and out of the lineup starting in Tennessee. He should be completely healthy this week. And you want to talk about the offense not looking good last week. Here's a fun stat for you. Some teams just know how to do things to other teams. The Bills, if I'm not mistaken, are 13 of 15 in the red zone this season. Against the Jets, there's something like 2 for 13. For whatever reason, the Jets have their number in the red zone. Every other team in the NFL cannot stop the Bills when they get inside the 20-yard line.
I don't understand what you're talking about. This is a team that's 0-6. It's 0-16.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
They just get, you know what this just did? They traded somebody else. I mean, this is not a really good team. You should have scored 28 points against these guys. You should have. There's some issues here because they're putting the ball in Allen's hands too much, and now defenses are reading that because they know the Bills can't run the ball. That's the issue going on. He's going to make too many mistakes trying to make plays happen for Buffalo.
He threw for over 300 yards, had a 70% completion percentage, and they didn't punt the ball. And you're going to tell me that the quarterback is the problem against the Jets last week?
I'm not saying the quarterback's the problem. I'm talking about the quarterback has no support, which with a running game would help.
Or John Brown.
Rushing yards.
Hey, as we look at how this game might turn out, the one thing that bothers me is that the Patriots are coming off the worst game they played in 20 years. That's not going to be the team that Buffalo faces this week. Pat, I'll start with you. Pick the thing on a 3.5-point line.
I think the Bills win, and I think they go do it by 3.5. Look, the idea that they're going to come out swinging is a great idea, but we're used to that from the Patriots because you had legitimate talent on that Patriots team. Now we're hearing out of New England that Stephon Gilmore, their all-world corner, is on the trading block. I mean, Belichick knows what he has here, and the idea that they can just bounce back from a bad loss, I think, is a flawed idea.
Tariq?
I don't think the Patriots have enough offense. I'm really worried about Cam Newton. He hasn't been playing well the last couple of weeks. His starting position has been put into question. I think the Bills have to right the ship. You've got to find a way to get the ball out of Allen's hands so he doesn't get creamed. You have to run the football, take the time off the clock. The defense for the Bills will be better.
I said that the Patriots were a beaten team when they lost to Miami last year. I put the Bills in the driver's seat of this division back then. I still like them in this game, but I think New England's been playing so badly that they cover. I think Buffalo takes it by 3.
Yeah.
There we are. We're at the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
All of these things show Josh Allen has a strive for greatness inside of him.
Falcon Around with Carl Falk. New episodes every Tuesday on Rock Sports Now.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Thanks for joining us and welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. This segment of the Press Box, Like It or Not, is brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law Firm. Attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today. All right, like it or not, Tariq, the NBA is talking about a late December start to the new season, which is really only a matter of weeks away.
Yeah, I don't like the rush job on this one. As much as I love the NBA on Christmas Day, I don't even care how bad the Knicks are. I still will sit there and watch it at noon as my kids are opening up presents or getting stuff from their aunt or whatever it is that is to see how bad that team is on Christmas Day. I just think it's a rush job. I think you still don't know too much about how you're going to travel. You still have to put in free agency. We haven't had a draft yet. How long is the camp going to be? I'm looking more towards the idea of having it on Martin Luther King Day, the middle of January. I think that's a more realistic goal to get everybody ready and set for the brand new year.
That's a great idea, Pat.
Yeah, I mean, it does hurt you, though, man. That is the international holiday for the NBA. Plus, if you start it in December, you have a ramp-up period while the NFL is still playing. Does the NBA want to be the only potential game in town going on between them and Major League Baseball? Because if you are, you're now exposing yourself to all of the mistakes alone that you could be making as this stuff goes on. Look, I get it, man. And the NBA showed that they can do the bubble thing and make it work. Maybe the players don't want to do it this time, but I think that Christmas, you have to shoot for Christmas or else it could be a problem for the NBA.
That is a big money day for them. Hey, Pat, like it or not, Rob Manfred, baseball commissioner, got booed at the end of the World Series.
I don't know why Major League Baseball fans would boo him because I think he did a hell of a job keeping everything together, especially with the speed bumps that Major League Baseball had with the positive test. But as a man who is a diehard hockey fan, let me explain something to you guys. Gary Bettman, the commissioner of the NHL, whenever he presents the Stanley Cup or any of the conference trophies out in front of the crowd, he gets booed mercilessly. It's become a tradition in the NHL. Now, I don't like Gary Bettman at all, and he's done some nice things, but if I saw him to his face, I would boo him right in his face. Sometimes it's just fun to boo the guy that runs everything. Nobody likes their boss. If I could have when I was a kid, I would have booed every teacher that I had. Just let the people boo the guy in power because it makes us feel better about ourselves.
Does everybody get booed? Every commissioner gets booed except Silver, right? Does Silver get booed?
Well, Bettman's part of the culture. Tariq, quickly, like it or not, Antonio Brown returning.
I like it for Antonio Brown. I'm not quite sure about Tampa Bay. Although Duffy made this point off air, and I'll make it on point. Their offense is a little worrisome. Their defense is very good. But Antonio Brown has got a lot of different issues to deal with off the field, some of them legal issues that I don't want to get into. But he's always wanted to work with Brady. Brady's always wanted to work with him. It could work. The question is whether or not Antonio Brown is ready to play football and do nothing else.
That's odd. It just strikes me as there are two guys you can think of that have less in common than Tom Brady and Antonio Brown, and yet there they are. They're like buddies.
Yeah, the only thing they have in common is trying to win football games, and that's about it. I don't know what they do in other social circles.
Like it or not segment of the Rochester Press Box brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box. It's time for Unfinished Business. We start with Pat.
Don't let your eyes get distracted by the diamond that can't do anything for you. Tariq was just talking about Antonio Brown joining the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A diamond that can't do anything for you. You can talk about what his career has been and what a freak athlete he is and how he can change a game. But let's look at facts here. He's 32 years old. He hasn't played in the NFL in a whole season and a half. And the last 2 seasons, he's been on 2 rosters and played a single game total. And you're adding him in a receivers room that already has 2 potential Pro Bowl wide receivers, along with 2 tight ends and a slot receiver that have been playing really well for Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the problem. It's not the talent that he has around them. What makes these NFL general managers and head coaches, because it wasn't just Tampa Bay, there were reportedly 7 other teams in. Look at a guy like Antonio Brown. And let's even forget the off-the-field stuff and the locker room stuff that reportedly was happening with Antonio Brown. Just as a 32-year-old wide receiver in a league that might have passed him by, how do you make that decision and think it's going to work out for you?
TV ratings have been a big concern over the last few weeks and months due to the pandemic. Why am I not concerned about it? Because what happened during the pandemic was we couldn't watch sports. No football, no baseball, no basketball, no hockey, no nothing. So what did we do? We found something else to watch. That interest for those few months was just enough to push people to different places other than the sports that are available. Now, I know what you're thinking. People are totally out of sports. No, they're not. WNBA's ratings actually went up. Women's soccer ratings actually went up. Golf, okay. NFL, not damaged as much, but not as big as the other 3 sports. What I'm basically saying here is that in that time off, people have had time to do other things except watch sports, which means the rating system is going to have to change because there's more entertainment. There's more streaming. There's more options. There's YouTube. There's Twitch. There's Hulu. There's Netflix. There's Peacock. There's all these other different networks and things that people can watch. My whole point on this is very simple. The ratings that used to be huge when there were only 4 channels are never going to be that way again. So they have to adjust the rating schedule to the people who are really watching.
The one that got away. We all know her. We all have one. She was charming. She was engaging. She was smart. Had an it quality and a smile that would last into next week. You thought it would last forever. And even now you don't know why it didn't. But it didn't. And she's not coming back. And what's worse, she remains on display for everyone to see, performing for another team. That's what it's like for the Boston Red Sox fans watching Mookie Betts perform for the now World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers. Performing for others. He's not coming back. You hate your team a little bit for having allowed it to happen. Mookie Betts, the one that got away. Guys, thank you very much.
Aren't you?
Am I happy for him?
Yes.
I'm less happy for myself. Thank you, Tariq. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't say something about the purple pumpkin, because really nothing says Halloween like a purple pumpkin.
It won't be here next week. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.
Hey, up until you said Mookie Betts, I thought you were talking to every girl I ever dated that dumped me. That was very nice, Bill. Very touching.
Thank you very much. I know we all feel it. Hey, thank you all for joining us on the Rochester Press Box. We'll see you again next week.